We come from and live on land considered sacred by indigenous people known as Bannock, Paiute, Shoshone, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years. We strive to understand and reframe our responsibilities to land, to community. In the spirit of respectful reciprocity, we honor the original caretakers of this place. We affirm the relationships we have to each other, including our relations to animals and insects that inhabit the water, land, and sky. We recognize the relationship, the responsibility to quiet creeks, rushing rivers, rustling grasses, to sprawling forests, to the brilliant palettes of the sky, to the roots that grip the soil, to the earth beneath our feet. Water is life. To all of us affected by the boarding school revelations, may we be granted compassionate understanding. May we find healing in the harm that lives in our history. We honor and support the right to sovereignty for our indigenous neighbors. We acknowledge that a land acknowledgement is not enough. Now, let us breathe together. Let us take a moment to enjoy the delicious air, the oxygen provided by tree. Hold to the warm light of sun. Consider the solidity, the groundedness of earth. Flow with refreshing, life-giving water. Let the mud settle. Find clarity of mind and spirit. Welcome our ancestors. Enjoy this present moment together.
Good morning. And amen to that beautiful land acknowledgement. It's always a joy to see our beautiful grounds represented so beautifully on that video there. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community. And this morning I'm joined by Rob Ham, who is serving as our celebrant, and Sue Langley on piano. We are so glad that you have joined us today. We are a community gathered to nurture spiritual growth, real connection, and faithful action for a better world. All who join us in this spirit of curiosity, love, and justice are welcome this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your life's journey, your presence here is a blessing. Welcome especially to those joining us virtually online. I invite us all to turn around and give a big good morning wave to our online community as a reminder that we worship together, connected beyond the physical walls of our sanctuary. We're so glad that you are out there with us this morning. And for our newcomers with us, those of you that are here for the first or second time, checking us out, we know that it takes a lot of courage to enter into new community, whether virtually or in person, and we're so glad that you've chosen us this morning. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us after the service online in the chat and fill out our newcomer form so that we can keep you connected with all that is happening in this fellowship and all the ways that you might meet the members and friends that make up our beloved community. I have one announcement today that I want to share with all of you, a reminder that after the service today, our board and Social Justice Council will host a town hall, an opportunity for the board to share updates with all of you, to hear your questions, and a chance for us to talk about the 2 social justice resolutions that are being offered up for a vote of this congregation. We'll take a 15-minute break after worship and then reconvene together here and online as well for our town hall this afternoon. Each month, this fellowship chooses a local organization to donate 25% of that month's offering, a local organization whose own mission connects with our values and mission and work in the world. And for this month of November, we are really delighted to be partnering with the Wassmuth Center for Human Rights, that beautiful center that lives at the home of the Anne Frank Human Rights Memorial. The Wassmuth Center works to promote respect for human dignity and diversity through education and to foster individual responsibility to work for peace and justice. I hear so many words that integrate with our own mission of social justice. I know that many of us have been longtime supporters of the center under the extraordinary leadership of Dan Prinzing. Dan was always a great friend and partner to this fellowship, even gracing us with a sermon in the early weeks of the shutdown, if you can remember that, no less. But Dan has officially retired, and we wish him many blessings. So I am equally delighted to introduce to you the new executive director, officially starting just this week as of November 1st. So we're really lucky we had to get an early connection with Christina Bruce Benyon. Christina, come on up, welcome. Congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and good morning to those of you online who are here. My name is Christina Bruce Benyon. I look around and I see several familiar faces in here. I have been in the Boise area for a really long time and was really working in refugee resettlement for the vast majority of that time. And so I know our paths have crossed through different, in different ways. And I want to say just a huge thank you to this congregation. Over the years, you have been, in so many ways, such a force in this community. And have just supported so many, efforts, and I just love coming back here today and hearing this ongoing sort of furthering, of the work that you're doing and the things that you're contemplating. So, yes, I just finished my first week as the new ED at the Wassmuth Center for Human Rights, and super honored. Excited and for the opportunity. I noticed that November, that your theme here is change, and I think it applies in so many aspects of our lives. And with Dan Prinzing retiring, we've broken ground on the new Human Rights Education Center, that it will be located right next to the memorial if you've been down there. So a lot of change in this organization as well, and yet lots and lots of opportunity to grow and deepen the work that we do. And I think the connections, as Sarah said, in this room and the work that our organizations do, there's so much exciting intersection. The Wassmuth Center is very, very grateful to be your November partner and just really appreciate that. I am always open to conversations, brainstorming ideas, and the Wassmuth Center will definitely be looking for ways to partner with the Unitarian Fellowship moving forward. And as we head into a week of election and change, more change, there's a quote I've been thinking about a lot, and this room reminds me of this quote by Michelle Obama that says, "History has shown us that courage is contagious and that hope can take on a life of its own." And I think when we come together, as you do, as we do in our community, that we continue to lift each other up with courage and hope, and keep doing the work that needs to be done. So thank you so, so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Christina, and welcome. And we are committed and delighted partners. And thank you for the years and decades of leadership the Wassmuth Center has provided across the state of Idaho in promoting, preserving, supporting, and upholding human rights and human dignity. There are many ways that you can give to support the ministry and work of the Wassmuth Center and of our fellowship, both in person and online. And at the end of the month, we'll deliver a check to the Wasserman Center with 25% of that offering. However you choose to give, we are grateful for that generosity. I love that when our plate partners come and they know what our spiritual theme for the month is. It means we're doing something right. It means it's on the website where it's supposed to be. Our spiritual theme for this month, it's a new month, and it's change. It's a good month for change here as fall is upon us. And today's service explores change and the relationship between transience and permanence, especially in our spiritual lives, drawing upon ideas from the radical Unitarian and Transcendentalist theologian Theodore Parker, and a little bit of Buddhism. As we enter into this time of collective worship together, I invite us all to take a breath together. Fill your body with breath. Let go of whatever small, niggling burdens and tasks and to-dos you might have brought into this space or your space with you. Just let them go for the time that we are together. Breathe, knowing that your breath connects you to each other, to your body, to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity for stillness, to tune in to our spiritual center and listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
At this hour, in small towns and big cities, in living rooms and ornate sanctuaries, many of our sibling Unitarian Universalists are also lighting a flaming chalice, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith. Today, we have a young first-time chalice lighter with us. we invite a child to light the chalice as a reminder of the hope of our future. As Beckett Tucker lights the chalice here in the sanctuary for our virtual community, if you have a chalice nearby, you're invited to light it with us this morning. Then share it in the chat where your chalice is lit this morning.
We want to thank Beckett Tucker for that wonderful job. Beckett is the son of Katie and Brady Tucker, the youngest brother of Brexon and Brielle, the happy owner of Millie and Wicket, two small dogs. You might have seen it the hot dog days of summer. I think that's what it was called. He loves to do sports and to draw. Thank you. Thank you, Beckett. Woo! Here is your first time tell cider pin. You all right?
Good job.
With our collector chalices lit in all our spaces, we offer you this call to worship. From Sherry Hostetler. This is her poem, Instructions. Give up the world, give up self, and finally, give up God. Find God in rhododendrons and rocks, passers-by, your cat. Examine all you have with a loving child and critical eye. Then throw away some more. Repeat, repeat. Keep this and only this. What your heart beats loudly for, what feels heavy and full in your gut. There will only be one or two things that you will keep, and they will fit lightly in your pocket. Come, let us worship together. As we move into our time for all ages, I'd like to invite all the children in the congregation to come and join us up front and watch Jem share today's story on video.
Good morning. I hope you'll join me in getting cozy and settling into our seats for our Time for All Ages. Our story this morning is See You Soon by Miriam Kaba and illustrator Bianca Diaz. Our story is going to help us explore how we can navigate some big changes in our lives while looking for love and for comfort amidst those changes. Let's listen. As we read, I want you to notice these wonderful borders all around each of these pictures and how they relate to our story. See you soon. Queenie is what they call me, but Raina is my name. I am 6 years old, and my life is about to change. My mama, she's been sick since I was very small. Sometimes she goes away when she isn't feeling well at all. A girl at school named Keisha sometimes says mean things to me. Your mama, she takes drugs. Your mama is a junkie. Keisha's words sting my heart and leave me feeling sad. Don't pay her any mind, says Grandma Louise. Your mama, she's sick, and that doesn't mean she's bad. When Mama isn't sick, we are 2 peas in a pod. We shop at the grocery store, roam aisles even and odd. We share ice cream sundaes and play games at the park. We wash clothes at the laundromat and watch the fireflies in the dark. Today we're riding on a train. Grandma, Mama, and me. We'll board the bus to the county jail once we get out of the city. Grandma is reading the Bible. Mama's looking out the window. No one is speaking, not one word. We don't have much further to go. I have so many questions. I'd ask, but I'm afraid. I push my fingers through Mama's, weaving them tight like a braid. Standing tall in front of the jail, I breathe in and find the strength. I ask Mama, "Where will you sleep?" She looks like her heart will break. "Can I see your room?" I ask. Mama's eyes are bright with tears. "No, baby girl, no one is allowed." She speaks, but I don't hear. I wonder what Mama's cell looks like. Will it be cold inside? Are there warm blankets for her? My heart is pounding. I want to run and hide. I look into Mama's eyes. I don't want to see her cry. I don't want Mama to go to jail. She should always be by my side. Who will help me braid my hair? Who will I ask about homework? Mama makes it fun to learn. My chest begins to hurt. Mama opens her arms and wraps me up. She hugs me so tight. "You be good. Take care of Grandma. Baby girl, I'll be all right." So many questions are swirling in my head. I have time for just one more. "When will I see you again, Mama?" "Soon, Queenie, soon," she says to me. "Time will fly. Don't you worry, my Queenie." Grandma Louise takes my hand and we walk to the door. "2 years is not soon," I yell, so mad my face turns red. Grandma gives me a look, and I say sorry and hang my head. I don't want to leave my Mama. She'll be in there all alone. But Grandma says it's time to go. We got to catch the bus and train home. Mama kisses my cheeks wet with tears. She turns and walks through the gate. I want to beg her not to go, to stay with us. Grandma and I are quiet as we ride home. When we arrive, I run into my room, just wanting to be alone. But there's a brand new quilt on my bed. It has photos of Mama and me, opening presents at Christmas, eating birthday cake, Mama holding me when I was a baby. I throw myself on the bed and wrap myself in memories. I fall asleep dreaming of my Mama, her voice saying, "Sweet dreams, Queenie." The next day at school, my mind is wandering. The teacher calls on me, but I don't hear. Is my Mama lonely without me? Is she doing okay? My heart is heavy with worry and fear. 2 long weeks go by, and then one day when school is done, I find a letter on my bed. It's my Mama's handwriting, shining bright like the sun. The letter reads, "To my baby girl Queenie, from Mama." I open it slowly, gently. I sit down on my bed to read it, and my heart fills with peace. Dear baby girl, this is your mama, and I love you. I loved you before I even met you. I love you still, and I always will. Even though I'm away, my love is always here to stay. See you soon, Queenie. Love, Mama. Has a drawing of Queenie, Grandma Louise, and Mama eating raspas at the park. Grandma comes into my room. She has a grilled cheese sandwich for me to eat. She says, "Do you want to visit your mama next Saturday?" I jump up and down and shout, "Yes, yes, yes!" I rain kisses all over Grandma's face. When bedtime comes, I hold the letter as darkness fills my room. I fall asleep hearing my mama's voice. See you soon, Queenie. See you soon. Join me now in blessing our beloved community with song as we sing our children to their religious exploration classes. Thank you.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Our reading this morning is from Catholic mystic and poet John O'Donohue. This is For the Interim Time, from his collection To Bless the Space Between Us. When near the end of our day, life is drained, out of light, and it's too soon for the mind of night to have darkened things. No place looks like itself, loss of outline makes everything look strangely in between, unsure of what has been or what might come. In this wan light, even the trees seem groundless. In a while, it will be night, but nothing here seems to believe the relief of dark. You are in this time of the interim, where everything seems withheld. The path you took to get here is washed out. The way forward is still concealed from you. The old is not old enough to have died away, and the new is still too young to be born. You cannot lay claim to anything. In this place of dusk, your eyes are blurred. There is no mirror. Everyone else has lost sight of your heart, and you can see nowhere to put your trust. You know you have to make your own way through. As far as you can, hold your confidence. Do not allow your confusion to squander this call which is loosening your roots in the false ground, that you might come free from all you have outgrown. What is being transfigured is your mind, and it's difficult and slow to become new. The more faithfully you can endure here, the more refined your heart will become for your arrival in the new dawn.
Thanks, Rob. It's that interim time that sometimes contributes to that feeling of deep aloneness and loneliness when the path behind you is washed out and the way forward has yet to be revealed, and it can feel frustrating and swirling and challenging, and those are the moments when we need to remember that our circle, our community, our support is wider than it might feel. And so we take a moment during our worship service to welcome that invitation to widen that circle of support and community, to recognize that we all struggle, that we all have joys that are so big we need to share them, and sorrows that are so deep it hurts to speak them. And we honor that by being in community together. We do not have any submitted joys and sorrows this morning, but that does not mean they don't exist. There are some that we often just hold deep inside: ongoing grief and loss, daily joys that we experience and forget to mention. And so we hold those in our heart together. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud into this space, into our Zoom space, or on the chat, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all of our joys and sorrows, those named and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us and be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with warmth to celebrate the joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Fill your body with breath. Breathe into this sacred space. Breathe with this beloved community filled with loving kindness. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. Thank you, Sue. That was beautiful. There are very few eternal truths in life, if any. I suppose birth and death are two. Perhaps the third could be considered change, our spiritual theme for the month. For death follows a lifetime of changes in all living things, even if that life was but a brief one. Change, as they say, is inevitable. Award-winning author Octavia Butler fashioned a prophetic spirituality, a religion, called Earthseed in her Parable of the Sower series. She based Earthseed on the central belief that God is change. The full verse from Earthseed goes like this: all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Her book and this vision expressed in her novels have gained a growing following in the last few years, especially in justice movements and organizing spaces. Her words capture a kind of calm, beautiful sense of eternity in the face of all of these existential crises facing humanity, our planet. The words have certainly brought me some comfort since I read them during the pandemic shutdown time. If God is change, then whatever I'm experiencing in any given moment must have some deeper meaning. And her words reinforce my own particular theology of a presence, a force surrounding, holding life, that unknowable mystery, that ground of being, that which holds all. In the months following the shutdown, I began a practice of walking the Greenbelt here in the church neighborhood every afternoon. I know I have shared this story before, but clearly it's had some impact on me. And as spring unfolded and the weather warmed, nature seemed to be expressing some kind of magical, extraordinary unfurling. Maybe you remember that too in the spring of 2020. Colors were brighter and deeper. Flowers more plentiful. Bushes and plants looked larger than ever, full of life, overtaking their space in this wild abundance. It was wild to experience. And on those daily walks, I felt this beautiful sense of peace, of being held in a way, surrounded by this wild abundance of nature during a time when nothing else felt peaceful or held or even stable for that matter. The world unmoored in the grip of pandemic fear and death. So depending upon the day and my state of mind, I might sometimes call that experience in those walks in the wild abundance of nature godlike, spirit-filled, a holy presence. And then I found that I came to crave that experience more and more. But like any craving, it wasn't always satisfied. Some days, yes, other days, not so much. Likely the result of my own mind and heart and spirit, a little out of alignment or jumbly, but still I persisted in my walks. On into the fall, I walked, watching the inevitable seasonal changes take place all around me. Colors fading, just like right now, leaves falling, that magical moment when you're on the path and the leaves have covered it and look like nothing else has walked that path before you. And then the bare trees and the snow. And the more I walked, the more I noticed the changes everywhere in everything. Changes that I knew intellectually, but were feeling like I was really noticing in a much deeper way for the first time. Through the seasons of winter and the following spring, and simultaneously Everything in my own life was changing too, which I suppose is also a truth of life. But I was feeling my changes particularly acutely. Health crises, gender transitions, not to mention pandemic life, turning everything upside down, some in great ways and in some less than great ways. I just felt this change and I saw it everywhere. And so in the midst of these experiences, this upheaval and this solitary witnessing of nature's changes, I began to deeply contemplate impermanence. It is everywhere, in all things, even in me. Buddhists name it as an essential teaching and practice. All that exists is impermanent. Nothing lasts. Therefore, nothing can be grasped or held on to, or maybe shouldn't be grasped because we do a lot of grasping. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. But I found myself wondering, what, if anything, in our experience of life, particularly in our religious or spiritual experience, might be permanent? And then I found myself wondering about Theodore Parker's wisdom on the concept, recalling his seminal sermon, The Transient and the Permanent in Christianity. Now, I know that might seem like quite a leap from Buddhism and the fall and the leaves and the change to Theodore Parker, but such is the wandering mind on daily walks through nature, so I just tend to go with it. In seminary, there are several influential, groundbreaking sermons we are required to read and know as part of our Unitarian and Universalist history. And Parker's is one of them. He delivered it at an ordination service in South Boston, and this, along with his many other writings, was so radical, it spurred severe backlash. Parker was denounced and shunned by his ministerial colleagues, branded a heretic, among heretics. The irony, we did that to one another even back then. He was forced to preach his own installation service because his colleagues refused to attend. And yet, thousands would come to hear him preach on Sundays. Thousands. And to hear him give lectures in Boston regularly. So clearly his ideas resonated. Having read his sermon only a couple times in seminary, I found myself curious to remember what this radical theologian in his time that I had admired had to say about the transient and the permanent. He had some things first to say about change, namely that to anyone that studies Christianity, nothing changes more from age to age than its own doctrines. He writes, these doctrines insisted on as essential to Christianity and personal salvation. What is falsehood in one province passes for truth in another. The heresy of one age is the orthodox belief and only infallible rule of the next. Part of Parker's own heresy came from denying the authority of Jesus, divine or otherwise, and instead pushing his audience to consider the truths in the core of the teachings, the wisdom itself. He claimed those truths remain permanent, regardless of who delivers them. My favorite analogy that he invokes is when he asks, why should the great truths of Christianity rest on the personal authority of Jesus more than the axioms of geometry rest on the personal authority of Euclid or Archimedes? The wisdom is what lasts, not the teacher or the ideology or the theology, not the doctrine or the woeful misinterpretations and practices, but that deep wisdom. Love thy neighbor. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Consider the least of these as no different than God. Practice forgiveness. Be the Good Samaritan. Parker goes on to say, if we are faithful, the great truths of morality and religion, the deep sentiment of love to humanity and love to God are perceived intuitively and by instinct, as it were, though our theology be imperfect and miserable. Now, he says, there can be but one religion which is absolutely true, existing in the facts of human nature, and the ideas of infinite God, that whether acknowledged or not is always the same thing and never changes. I certainly hope our theology isn't always miserable. The thing is, in returning to Parker, I discovered I needed his message. I needed something permanent. I found comfort, and still do, in observing the impermanence of nature because it invited me to discover gratitude in the present moment and to realign my focus and energy toward what feels most important in life. It's a spiritual grounding worth holding on to. But when I received my cancer diagnosis, my whole being tipped right on over into nihilism. If impermanence pervades life, then what is the point of any of it? Sure, my suffering may not last. Sure, this miserable MRI will be over. This treatment will not go on forever, but so what? It still sucks. Sometimes the change that is inevitable is not a good change. And trying to make meaning and find joy or comfort in that darkness is quite a feat. And at times, for me at least, it felt futile. I needed something lasting, something I could carry along with all of this impermanence, something that called me to a greater purpose. And I began to recognize that permanent wisdom that lives within me and is also an expression of this beautiful religious tradition to which I have chosen to devote myself. Those core values and teachings that continue to rise up in me, the permanence of love, justice, compassion, inherent worth and dignity, interdependence, beloved community, and the knowing that there is always more for us to discover, uncover, create, more love, more justice, more compassion, more hope, more peace, more beauty. It is up to us to find it and create it. Parker's religious and spiritual permanence gave me a handhold, a compass of sorts on this journey of impermanence. Because no matter how much impermanence I welcome, no matter how much non-attachment I practice, the striving never ceases. The hope for a better world, the vision and pursuit of inherent worth, inclusion and belonging, the striving for change itself. Too much attention on impermanence kept me from engaging with the world, from moving closer to the suffering of others, from practicing my faith out loud, from leaning into Parker's famous wisdom that the moral arc of the universe does bend towards justice with our help as the benders of that arc. So to embrace both of these spiritual tenets is something of a balancing act, a weaving together. because one is not more important or valuable than the other. This is not an either or binary exercise. Nothing truly worth our spiritual pursuit can be an either or exercise, even as Parker writes with seemingly definitive certitude. As I wrote this sermon, I found myself arguing both sides, contradicting each statement as it came to the page. I need impermanence to help me stay connected to beauty and wonder, to gratitude and people, and life, knowing just how fleeting and transient life really is, to keep me anchored in the present moment. I also need the permanent in my spiritual life, that deep wisdom, the teachings and values. I need to be stirred up and called into action. I need to know there is always more out there. I need my own true essence of God. Perhaps, to borrow Parker's words, the absolute truth in the facts of human nature and the ideas of infinite God is the deep wisdom that God is change. And if we are to live with this idea of God, then we too must be that change. Live it and pursue it, all in effort to honor and embody that powerful, permanent inner wisdom that resides in each of us. May it be so. Amen. I want to invite you now into a time of meditation on impermanence and permanence, both. So wherever you are, I invite you to just find a comfortable place. Move around if you need to. If it helps you to close your eyes, please do. Take a few deep breaths with me. Impermanence surrounds us, with nature a beautiful example. So I invite you to sink into impermanence. Find a place in nature and let yourself go there where that feels true for you. Fall leaves, twilight, early morning dawn, the ocean tides. Invite yourself to settle into a place where you can witness it. Breathe. Let impermanence wash over you. And for a few moments, allow your visions and knowing of impermanence, of transience, to rise up within you and around you. Just notice them. Be with them. Stay present to them for a moment of silence. Breathe. Now, with all that you have brought up into the surface of your being and your mind, I invite you to sink deeper into your spiritual center, into that core of your being as deep as you can. Breathe. In that place, notice what wisdom, what values, what hopes reside there. Notice what feels true and permanent for you. And let that spread through your body. From your center down through your lower body and legs and your feet. And up through your chest. Down your arms. Up to the top of your head. Let that wisdom, that truth fill you up. Breathe. And with that fullness, notice again that place of impermanence to which you took yourself. And breathe in this moment, at this time, this feeling. Honoring this transient moment, knowing this isn't all there is. And when you're ready, invite yourself to return back to this space, holding on to your truth as you breathe yourself back into your body, into this sanctuary, into your home worship space, into this present moment. Take one final breath if you need it. Maybe rub your hands together, wiggle your fingers and toes to ground yourself back into this space. But we continue this meditative space with music, with our closing song. In the moving between the transient and the permanent, we remember that what's in front of us isn't everything, that there is always an invitation for more to explore, to resist, to open ourselves up to. In the words of this African-American spiritual, we remember that even in a loving community, there still is always more love, more peace, more joy, more hope to be found. And so we sing.
There is more love somewhere.
Friends, I invite you to rise as you are comfortable and able. Place your hands over our heart for our closing blessing. Take a moment to look around you. If you are in this space, look at one another in this beloved community, at the more joy, more love that surrounds us. Look out your window if you're worshiping at home at the beauty. Let us embrace the whole of this one wild and precious life, the transient and the permanent, the few things that fit in our pocket. All the complex beauty, the inner knowing that there is more love, more joy, more peace, even if change is the only lasting truth. We extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the wisdom of our being, the warmth of our hearts, or the love we share with the world. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.